I have someone interested in purchasing my old Sony VP1000 U-Matic player. I haven't used this thing in years. Actually, the last time it was turned on was when I did a service video on it, and it's been sitting ever since. So, good chance it's going to need some service. Let's check it out, see what I need to do before I can move this one onto a new home. And I'm sure this machine probably doesn't need much done to it, but let's check it out. This is my ancient Sony VP1000. This is a 3/4 inch U-Matic playback machine only. We've seen it before on the channel. I serviced this probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. And I haven't used it. It's been sitting. And now I have somebody who would like to purchase it off of me, so I said I'd go over it and make sure that it still works before I sell it and give it a tune-up, although it might need lubrication. It has not been used in a long time. So first things first, let's see if it'll load a tape. Top cover doesn't have any screws that hold it on because it came from a TV station and they wanted to be able to get at it to clean it. Oh, look. Even has instructions for the service technician. Video heads are replaced by changing the upper drum assembly. Following installation of upper drum, run-out eccentricity must be checked with a special jig. Consult the Sony service manual for special instructions. Do not attempt to remove or adjust any of the mounting screws identified with red paint. These screws secure position adjustments to ensure tape interchangeability. It says all important bearings of the seal type, very little lubrication is required on the remaining bearing surfaces. Consult the service manual. And it says if necessary to rotate the main motor shaft by hand to make mechanical checks, turn only in the direction shown on the arrow of the fan. To load the tape, tape goes in just like that, and we'll check and see whether it actually will fast forward or rewind. And well, it doesn't appear to be doing anything, does it? I think do we have power? I don't even know if we've got power on this thing. Maybe I don't have power. Maybe that's why it doesn't work. All right, I do have power now. Just the cord wasn't plugged in properly on the back. Let's check it and see whether it works. Well, it's going forward, and rewind, and it's rewinding. You'll see it'll stop when it gets to the beginning. There we go. Now it's back to the beginning. All right, let's see if it'll load the tape. So it plays. Is my plasma still on? I can't run it through the plasma just because the plasma, yeah, it's still on here. Let me turn it off. The plasma is causing interference. So I can't put it on the plasma screen. With the top off, there's so much noise thrown out from this old plasma that the preamp picks it up and you can see the bars across the screen. But it is playing picture and sound. It's playing. It is only a playback machine. I do have to check the loading belt. It looks to be that it is not in good shape, but at least it works, so I can sell this one and I don't have to worry too much about it. Everything appears to be working as designed, as you can see. Picture's good. This machine itself has very few hours. I do have another one. I do have a VP1000 as well, but it has many more hours on it. So to sell this to, it's actually a company that does archiving as well, to sell them a machine, this would be the one to sell, just because this one here does not have many hours on it. It came from the cable station that I worked for back in 1982, I guess. Well, actually from 80 to 82. I was intern there. I did volunteer work and intern for a while. But this sat in the boardroom. It wasn't like it was used for on-the-air broadcast. This sat in the boardroom, and they used it to play back programs on. And I think also like screen stuff that came from other cable stations and so forth that sent their material over, and they would sit and watch it in the boardroom away from the studio, because the 3/4 machines we had in the studio, we were busy using them for on-air operations and for editing and so forth. So this was just kept there for playback, for checking. And I think before the station switched over to 3/4, we were using 1-inch A format on Ampex machines for our operation. It wasn't until about 1980, maybe I think 1980 was when we changed or started adding 3/4. We put some Panasonic NV 9800 and 9850 for editing equipment, which I have at 9800 as well. That's what's on my opening logo on some of the videos, the tape unlacing on that one. But this would have sat in the boardroom, and if a tape came in that was 3/4 from, say, Vancouver cable systems, they would use this machine to dub it to 1-inch before they broadcast. But again, very, very few hours, and I serviced it a number of years ago, lubricated the mechanism that was sticking. Looks like I got a belt that's slipping a bit now. Don't know that I'm going to have one. It's a big belt, but we'll see whether I can make it work. I'll just show you the inside, looking from a different angle. This angle shows the tape path on here. So the tape starts out on the right side. It's pulled around the head drum, over the video head drum and the audio playback head, pinch roller, and there's the capstan there, and then the tape comes back. It returns this way to the take-up side. The tape runs right to left. I'll stop it so you can watch how it unloads. See, it's sticking a bit because the belt is slipping. If I just give it a bit of a push, it'll click in. Just gotta turn this a bit. There we go. Oh, now it's on. Actually, I think that's actually loaded from the main motor. Loads the pinch roller. Let's see. Watch the pinch roller. It might be sticking. I may have to. It may be gummed up. Oh yeah, it's moving very, very slowly. There we go. So we may have to lubricate that pinch arm. It's probably sticking a bit, but we'll deal with that. I'm going to remove the bottom cover just so I can check the unit out, give it an inspection, and see if anything needs to be lubricated, check the belts and stuff. I know that the loading belt, the main drive belt, is that loads and unloads the tape, probably should be replaced. Hopefully this will be sold and I'll have one less machine to deal with, as I've been dumping some of my older equipment that I haven't been using. On the back here it says serviced 840820. So that was, I took out the screws here, I can pull the top off. That was after I worked there. I bought this at a garage sale that they had when they were blowing out a lot of stuff. And it was probably, I want to say probably maybe 88, 87 when I actually picked this thing up. But first, this has to come off. Front's got to come off first. Okay, front cover comes off. Actually, it's the chassis that lifts out of the case. The case stays behind, the guts lift out of it. So if we look at the bottom, the belts here look okay. It's got an AC drive motor here. When you turn the AC motor, that turns the head drum. There's the head drum. It also turns this midway pulley to reduce the speed, which in turn turns the capstan. This is the capstan shaft, and this is the belt that drives the reel table. And those belts are fine, no problem with those. They look good. It's the loading belt. I just want to see what it does to load the cam for the pinch roller. I forget how that works on this. So I'm going to put it through the motions on its side here, just to watch what it does. If I activate the little switch here to tell it that there's a tape in it, I should be able to activate the recording or playback circuits. Okay, so that's how the pinch roller engages. I don't know if you saw that or not. I got to lower the camera down, I'm sure. It just detected that there was a jammed tape, because the tape slack lever would have gone slack because there's no tape in it. But if we watch what operates the pinch roller, it's actually, there's a roller back here that actually drives the pinch roller in place from the capstan. So if I press the play button, wherever it is, it'll load the tape, and then you'll see That's what pulls the pinch roller into place. There's a rubber roller down here, and that moves the pinch roller into place. I think the reason why the pinch roller is slow at coming on is this rubber tire back here. This is what actually moves the pinch roller into place. I think it might be slipping a little bit. We're going to try some rubber renew on that tire. Because the mechanism is not gummed up at all. It's turning fine. Like the pivot pins, the pivot moves just fine. There's no problem there. But it might be this tire slipping a bit. Well, it's going to slip a lot now that I knocked the belt off. See, that's what moves the pinch roller into place. So we'll just put the belt back on. And try it again and see what happens. Alright, let's try it out. Got a tape loaded. Again, all I've done is I put some rubber renew on the outside of that tire, which is what operates the pinch roller. It's mechanically driven. There's no solenoid. There's a solenoid here to stop it, but not to engage the pinch roller. So we press down play. Remember how slow it was before loading? There you go. Now it's playing. And we have a picture on the monitor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that picture. If I adjust my, where's the skewing control? There's the skewing. You see I can tweak the skewing, that adjusts the tape tension. And then of course we've got the tracking control. That's me adjusting the tracking. And there's also a control on the back called color lock. And you can actually turn the color off. Where is it here? I can switch it to monochrome, or I can put it in color. So you can switch the monochrome off, or switch the color off on the back. So if you have a tape that's black and white that's got noise on it, because if there was no color signal there could be noise, you can switch it off on it. And there's also a control called color sync. When I adjust that, you can actually adjust the oscillator to lock it in. Again, this was an early machine, but it's fully functional. So I think this is one that's good for me to sell, as the picture quality off it looks good, and it's playing the tape perfectly. And again, it doesn't have a lot of hours on it. Like this machine probably, that's just me adjusting the tracking. This machine may have a couple hundred hours, if that, on it. It's in really good shape. I almost hate to part with it because it is such a classic machine, but I've got enough 3/4 inch machines here to last me the rest of my life. And I think as far as a machine to sell to somebody else who needs one, this is probably the best one to let go. If I stop it, see everything winds back nicely, and I think that one is, it rewinds a bit. Okay, that's fast forward. I think that's fast. Yeah, that's fast forward, and that one's rewind. As you can see, the tape is spinning nice and fast. There's no belts that are slipping. The belt that I was concerned about is the one that's right down there. If we watch it, the loading belt, if I can get some light in there so you guys can see it, it's not an issue. It's been sitting so long it had a flat spot. You can see it as it spins. You can see the flat spot, but it's not broken. It's got enough torque, as you can see. Oh, did you see it there? I don't know if you can see it there. It's driving the bottom of that rubber roller, that bottom of that pulley right there. I stop it. I guess it's not doing too bad now. When I first tried it the first time, you can still see it shaking a bit there. That's caused just because it was sitting so long in one position on the small end of the pulley, and it actually deformed the belt. But now that it's run a few times, everything's working, so I don't need to do anything else on this machine. Just button it up and let the person that's looking for it know that I have a good player that I can sell them. But you gotta like it. One motor that does everything. So you got one drive motor. That's that secondary idler there, I think. I should probably put a drop of oil on that, even though they say the bearings are lubricated for life, and they probably are. It doesn't have a lot of hours, so I don't know that I need to worry too much about that. Everything seems to be good. I think the last time I serviced it, what I had to do was the linkage here was sticking. Right, I had to free up all this linkage, and it's still good now. This was all stuck before, but the linkage itself is all free. There's no problems there. You can see the pinch roller here is loose. Like, you know, like there's nothing that's gummed up on it. So I think we're good. So let me throw this back together, and we'll do a couple more final tests on it before I get it out the door. For those that didn't see it come apart, I'll show you how easy this goes back together. There's actually a couple of handles on here, one there and one over there to grab the chassis. So the engineer, when he needed to open this up, just took out the screws from the bottom, took off the front, and then this just lifts up. Just grab it and drop it in. And yes, it is heavy. This is really heavy. Next, this top goes on. Couple of screws go down through the top here to hold this in place. So there's basically the 4 screws in the bottom and the 2 in the back, and then you just lift off that front bezel, and these are the ones that hold it together. But you lift off the front bezel in order to remove the rest of the chassis. Open that up. And there you go. And the tape is now playing. And it's playing good. Alright, I guess that's about it for this one. That's me playing with the tracking control, by the way. It's not the machine. I'm turning the control. There it's playing on the plasma screen, but as you can see, the plasma itself get a bit of, we get that on all the VCRs. They radiate out interference that gets picked up by the head amplifier and the heads, and can cause, I'm just playing with the tracking control here, can cause the those lines to appear. As soon as I turn off the plasma. If I had the plasma turned on, they would appear on the other monitor as well. But as soon as I turn the plasma off, they go away. But this is a known issue. Plasmas cause interference. If I put my hand near the head drum, it's even more pronounced. But once the top cover is attached, that'll probably diminish. But again, it's just this TV. Turn the plasma back on. And it's back. It's off. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.